When the bully's slap echoed across the auditorium, everyone froze. No one expected that the quiet girl they underestimated would deliver a response so shocking, so brilliant, that it would flip the entire school upside down. Before you read this life-changing story, hit subscribe so you never miss another jaw-dropping tale like this. The slap rang out like a gunshot in the packed auditorium, echoing against the walls as 200 students gasped in stunned silence, their murmurs dying instantly as Mia stumbled sideways, her cheek flaming red, the sting slicing through her like fire. But she didn't cry, didn't flinch, didn't even raise a hand to touch the swelling mark blooming under her skin, and that alone frightened her bullies more than if she had screamed. Amanda, the self-proclaimed queen of North Hill High, with her clique of perfectly styled followers, expected Mia to crumble, to burst into tears like she usually did in hallways, stairwells, and cafeteria corners, but today, at the school assembly where she had been voted unexpectedly to give a small speech about kindness, Mia stood straight, slowly planting her feet on the stage floor, her posture growing tall, calm, collected with an eerie silence that swallowed the room whole, and as Principal Rowan froze in shock, teachers whispering urgently among themselves, Amanda smirked as if she had won something triumphant, unaware she had just triggered the moment that would destroy her reign entirely. Mia breathed in, deep and steady, and instead of running off stage or returning the slap, she reached for the microphone and said, in a voice steady as steel, "Thank you, Amanda, you just proved exactly why this speech matters," and the crowd rippled with electricity because no one expected the quiet, invisible girl, always sitting alone, always keeping her head low, to speak with the control and clarity of a seasoned leader, and she continued, her cheeks swelling but her words sharp and resonant, explaining how cruelty had been normalized in school, how laughter at others' pain had become entertainment, how silence was the loudest form of support to bullies, and as she spoke, something shifted in the room. Students who once laughed at jokes about her suddenly stared at their shoes, heat rising in their faces, while a handful of teachers blinked rapidly as if seeing her for the first time. Amanda, growing paler by the second, tried to interrupt, but Mia held up one hand, not touching her, not even looking at her aggressively, simply commanding the room with a presence no one had ever seen in her before, saying she forgave Amanda, not because she deserved it, but because Mia refused to carry the weight of someone else's cruelty any longer, and that forgiveness, instead of shaming Mia, shattered Amanda's confidence. After all, how do you fight someone who refuses to fight back? And Mia then revealed a secret twist. She had been recording the bullying for months, not for revenge but for evidence she planned to take straight to the district board, the ones who had ignored the school's rising complaints, and now, before everyone, she connected her tablet to the projector with trembling but steady hands, playing videos of Amanda and her clique mocking, shoving, humiliating her in classrooms, hallways, locker rooms, even outside in the parking lot, and gasps tore across the auditorium as the truth unfolded frame by frame. Some students cried, some whispered apologies under their breath, and Amanda screamed that the videos were edited, fake, manipulated, but no one believed her. Not when Mia calmly displayed timestamps, witnesses, and uncut footage. Principal Rowan tried to cut the projector power, only to realize Mia had connected it through the emergency generator that only staff typically accessed, and this shocked him almost as much as the bullying itself, leading him to demand how she'd gotten in. And Mia revealed twist number 2, she had an ally, someone unexpected, Mrs. Lorne, the quiet librarian who had seen too much, heard too much, and finally decided enough was enough, helping Mia gather evidence legally and safely, telling her that staying silent only fed the cruelty. The entire auditorium erupted when the school superintendent, who had been invited to the assembly for a surprise inspection, stood from the back row where no one realized he had been sitting, announcing that disciplinary action would be immediate and severe, and Amanda's face drained as she realized her father's influence wouldn't help her this time. But Mia wasn't finished. She told everyone about Noah, the boy who had been bullied so violently last year he transferred schools, and how she lost sleep for months wishing she had spoken up then, how she refused to be silent any longer, and her honesty cracked open something powerful in the students, a rising wave of murmurs as several other victims silently walked forward to stand behind her, forming a line across the stage, their presence transforming the moment into a movement, and the auditorium filled not with fear but with unity as Mia turned back to the microphone, saying she wasn't seeking punishment but change, real change, demanding the creation of a student protection council where students, not just teachers, had power to report bullying anonymously, and the superintendent, impressed by her courage, agreed on the spot, announcing funding and implementation within weeks. Amanda, shaking, tried to flee the stage but was stopped by her own friends who were tired of being her puppets, And when she tried to call them traitors, they simply stepped away, leaving her alone for the first time in her high school life, and Mia's voice softened as she told Amanda she hoped one day she'd learn to be better, not for others but for herself, and this unexpected compassion broke Amanda, who collapsed into silent sobs. Though Mia didn't go to her, she had given all the forgiveness she could. Once the assembly ended, something unbelievable happened. Students approached Mia like she was a leader, asking how they could help, how they could change things, and she didn't bask in attention but guided them with surprising confidence, becoming someone they admired, someone strong, someone impossible to ignore. That afternoon, the story exploded on social media, recordings of the slap, the speech, the videos going viral nationwide, turning Mia into a symbol of courage and calm resistance, and within days, news crews arrived, interviews were requested, articles were written about her bravery, but Mia stayed grounded, insisting the movement was never about her alone but about every student who ever felt invisible or powerless. The biggest twist came weeks later when Amanda requested a private meeting, her voice trembling as she apologized not only for the slap but for years of cruelty fueled by jealousy, insecurity, and her parents' toxic pressure. And though Mia didn't forget, she accepted the apology, offering Amanda a chance to join a rehabilitation program the school initiated for aggressive behavior, and shockingly, Amanda agreed, choosing to rebuild herself piece by piece. Months passed, and the school transformed from a silent battlefield into a community driven by respect, mental health awareness, and accountability, with Mia elected student president the following year in the largest landslide vote the school had ever seen, proving that one voice, one moment of courage, one unexpected response to violence could rewrite the entire narrative of a place once drowned in fear. And though she never sought revenge, never raised her hand in anger, it was her strength, composure, intelligence, and refusal to be broken that changed everything that day on stage when the slap echoed across the auditorium, shaking the world awake, proving that the quietest person in the room can sometimes be the one who brings the greatest storm, and the greatest change.